Hi, I'm Doug Robinson. I'm the head women's triathlon coach at the University of Indianapolis. So last season was our first season for the program, and so we are now heading into our second year. And some of the highlights were just the growth of everyone as a triathlete. Um, like we had two ladies who had done triathlons previous to joining the team, and we had nine on the squad last year. One had draft legal experience, and the other one in high school had done a 70.3. So she had in high school chose to go longer, the longer distance as opposed to staying like short and fast. Um, and so from the first day of practice until our first race was 2 weeks, and some of them had never really been on a race bike. And so just to go from that space in a 2 week, growth, to then be racing, and then to finish the season, we finished eighth in the Division Two, and so it was just really exciting to see them grow as a group and as a team. Yeah, so I think the things that will be different is that when everyone joined the team last year, no one had really been training. Well, I take that back. There was a few ladies who were on the cross country team, and so they had their kind of summer routine. And some of the other ladies, they were active, they were running, but nine ladies came in a little bit less conditioned than what maybe they would have been, especially across all three sports. And so, what's different this year is they've had a full spring semester and then a whole summer of training, and everybody is just so much more fit than what they were a year ago when they joined the team. Um, so I think with that extra fitness, we are looking to move from that eighth position, and our goal is to be in the top five on the Division Two at the national championships as a team. And with the growth of each individual from last year's team, and then adding in three new recruits from this year's team, I'm super excited and optimistic about us reaching that goal. I've labeled it we're the strive for five, and maybe that's boomer quirky, but that's kind of what I'm calling it right now. So we have two new regular season competitions. We're racing three times in the regular season this year. The first one is a new race on the north side of Indianapolis. So we're excited to kind of call it our home course. And what's exciting about it is that there's at least three, maybe four or five other teams here in the Midwest that I think are planning to come in for it. So that would just be awesome to have a really good group of other NCAA programs come into Indianapolis for that race. So that's August 31st as our season kickoff. And then 2 weeks later, we're going to a new race, the Lake Davidson Triathlon in North Carolina. And so we have not done any racing going east that we did last year. So I'm excited to kind of get down into that area where there's a lot of NCAA programs on the East Coast, especially down in the Carolina area. And then 3 weeks after that, we're going back out to the Prairie State Triathlon in Illinois, hosted by Milliken. And so we did that one last year, and it was a great course, and the organizers put on a really good race. So I'm excited to go back for that one to kind of cap off our regular season before we head into regionals down in Texas. Yeah, so we have three new people on the roster. The first one is international from Mexico, Geraldine Vasquez, and she comes to triathlon. She's new to triathlon, but not new to elite competition. She was on the junior national team for artistic swim. Um, in my generation, we knew it as synchronized swimming, and so super comfortable and elite in the water. And then she's been learning the bike and learning the run over the last year, and has just excelled tremendously. So I think she's going to come in and have a really great impact. Um, the one of the others is Nadia Barron, and she's coming down from Calvin. Unfortunately, Calvin's program, the university is no longer hosting triathlon as a sport, and she had just fallen in love with triathlon her freshman and sophomore year. So she entered the transfer portal, and she's going to come down for junior, senior year and be able to finish out her triathlon career. So we're excited to add another draft legal experienced triathlete to the squad. And then the diamond in the rough is Haley Uberta, and she is an incoming freshman who recruited me. She was already going to be on campus. She was already signed up to come to the University of Indianapolis and was not on my radar at all. And so she heard about the triathlon team and expressed that she might be interested. So she's a two-sport athlete from a school out on the west side of Indianapolis, Avon High School, and she did a race a few weeks ago, the Go Girl Triathlon up in Cicero, and she raced it on an old mountain bike kind of thing and just crushed it. So I'm super excited to get her on a road bike and help file off those rough edges and help her learn the sport of triathlon. But she's going to be a great addition to the team. I think when we look at the ladies who were on the team last year, and out of the 8 that are returning, who is going to make an impact on the team? My answer is all of them, right? And there's a part of some research that I saw years and years ago that said the lowest person on the org chart for an organization, being a team, a hospital, any group of people, the lowest person on the org chart, how invested they are in the mission, how invested they are in excellence, is actually a better predictor in the group's success than your top people, right? And so in the book, it talked about at a hospital, it's the custodial staff. If they're invested in being excellent, then all the way up through the nurses and the doctors and the surgeons, it just lifts the whole entire hospital's success. And so everyone on the team is important for our success. And so having that engagement, and whether they're racing at the national championship or not, that success is across all of the team. We have some great returning. Our varsity that raced at nationals last year, all but one is coming back. And then we had a few who should have raced at nationals last year, but then one twisted her ankle, and then the next one got sick. And so, we're really returning again a squad that's had a lot of growth over a year, and I think everyone is going to be impactful for our mission. Yeah, I think my hopes for NCAA triathlon is there's multiple factors to it. One is being able to add more programs, and then two is maintain those programs, right? And providing the tools and resources to help each institution maintain a good roster size, so that the university sees value in having triathlon as part of their sport offerings. And I think that's supporting the coaches and learning new skills. Like when I got hired, I had not ever recruited at the NCAA level. And so that was a new skill for me to have to learn, and I'm still in that learning process. But getting support from the other NCAA coaches, getting support from recruiting, gurus and websites and podcasts. And so it's giving everybody the tools they need to be successful, whether it's an administrator, a coach, or the student athlete themselves. So I think um, in my search for my next recruiting class for 2026 is really two-pronged. One is to recruit more ladies that have draft legal experience, right? We've had a lot of developmental and teaching people some of the finer points to draft legal racing, and but to have some student athletes come in that already have raced at the junior elite, whether domestically here or on the international level. And so that's an important piece for us to be a successful program as we move through that goal of being top five with a future goal of being on the podium at nationals. The other part is developing two-sport athletes so that we can create a larger pool of ladies who are considering and being interested in doing triathlon at the NCAA level and racing the draft legal format. And so, my recruiting model that I've got set up right now is trying to really identify those draft legal junior elites, but then equally as much as finding two-sport athletes who are really strong in their selective sports, swimming, running, but maybe just not quite strong enough to be recruited as a single sport athlete. And but they're passionate about wanting to be a NCAA collegiate competitor. And so giving them that opportunity to change their dream a little bit, to move from a single sport into a three-sport athlete. And then the other people that I'm looking for are ladies who don't want to give up a sport. They've loved swimming since they were 6 years old, and they've loved running since middle school. And they've been passionate about both those sports and activities all through high school. And they're good enough to be a single sport athlete. They might be recruited to be a runner or good enough to be a swimmer at the college level, but they don't want to give something up. They don't want to lose part of that, part of the passion that makes them who they are. And so then adding the bike and becoming a triathlete then becomes a really good option for them to continue their collegiate career in a slightly different way. I think, from my perspective, right, we are in this space where we're an emergent sport and we're just right on the edge of being an official NCAA varsity sponsored sport. And so we started this journey. I say we, but the triathlon community started the journey 10 years ago. And so with me only coaching 1 year now, I feel like I'm late to the game. But I think the reality is that we're still just scratching the surface of where we can be and where we will be in the future. And so in some sense, I'm early to the game, right? So I'm excited for what NCAA triathlon can grow into as we find more coaches to head up programs, find more student athletes, find more race directors that value this Olympic style of racing and our path to developing the future Olympians for triathlon through the NCAA program. And so I'm super excited to just be a part of that organization, a part of the effort in growing this and getting it to a space to where 20 years from now, people can't imagine that we were ever in this emergent space, that, we've just moved into a place to where we're really, really a strong, viable sport at the NCAA level.